Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. I'm Darrin McBreen. It is Thursday, January 21st, and here's a quick look what's coming up.
Tonight, the good people of Flint, Michigan find out the hard way that there truly is poison in their water. And breaking down a pro-Obama meme. That's next.
And there's a meme that's very popular right now, and it says, you still have your guns, you don't live in FEMA camps, you don't have government implants, and you don't live under Sharia law. There's still no such thing as a death panel. Gay marriage hasn't ruined the country. You've seen the birth certificate, and he still hasn't risen as the Antichrist. Do you feel like a dumbass yet?
But that's called the death panel. And you're not supposed to have that discussion.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them.
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction, easy assembly, low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty much getting sick and tired of the Obama administration and liberals in general, for that matter, always telling us to relax and calm down because nobody's taking our guns, right? In fact, I ran across a meme the other day on Facebook. Only in the land of Idiocracy would somebody post something like this, but here you go. I'll read it to you right now. They walk among us, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Facebook post that's being passed around by zombies on social media. They're talking about Barack Obama after 7 years in the White House. 7 years later, and you still have your guns. You don't live in a FEMA camp. You don't have government implants, and you don't live under Sharia law. There's still no such thing as a death panel. Gay marriage hasn't ruined the country. You've seen the birth certificate. And he still hasn't risen as the Antichrist. Do you feel like a dumbass yet? No, but you should feel like a dumbass for posting this garbage. I mean, this is how stupid a large percentage of the American population has become. Because if you agree with this meme and you're sharing it with your friends on social media, well, you are the definition of a libtard, right? Now, I want to go through the bullet points here in a minute, but let's start with the number one thing that you usually hear from liberals, and the number one just happens to be the number one item on this list. Nobody is taking your guns.
When y'all go home and you're talking to your buddies and they say, he wants to take my gun away. You've heard it here. I'm on television, so everybody knows it. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in people's lawful right to bear arms. I will not take your shotgun away. I will not take your rifle away. I won't take your handgun away.
So there you go. You heard the president. Nobody is going to take your guns. They're just going to take away your ammo and your high-capacity magazines, and they're not going to allow you to own any assault rifles.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals. They
are going to make you register all of your guns. and they are restricting transfers. For example, my dad gave me a rifle that I would like to hand down to my son one day. But if Obama gets his way, that's going to be very, very difficult. And they're also doing everything they can to keep us from carrying guns. And there's always someone out there who says, what do you guys have to worry about? You're in Texas. You're allowed to carry guns. They don't mess with Texas. Well, that might be true, but I tell you what, we sure had to fight for the right to open carry. There are plenty of liberals, trust me, in Texas who want us totally disarmed. And I'm not just a Texan, I'm an American, damn it. And I think we all have the right to protect ourselves and protect our families, no matter what state we live in or what state we might be traveling to at the time, right? Besides that, the Second Amendment, it's not just about protecting our families, and it's definitely not about hunting and fishing or shooting for sport. No, the Second Amendment is there as a safeguard to protect us from a tyrannical government. You know the words, sing along.
You know, the right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny.
See there, even Ice-T gets it. Look, they want to ban ammo, they want to ban assault rifles, and everything else that gives the Second Amendment real meaning. And now they're even going as far as recommending that you have RFID tracking on guns or fingerprint access, or even require you to wear a bracelet in order for you to have access to your weapon.
Vice President Biden and I had a meeting with a group of technology people and talked about how guns can be made more safe by making them either through fingerprint identification, the gun talks to a bracelet or something that you might wear, how guns can be used only by the person who is lawfully in possession of the weapon.
If there's an app that can help us find a missing tablet, your iPad, there's no reason we can't do it with a stolen gun. So we're going to advance research, we're going to work with the private sector to update firearms technology.
So there you go. And by the way, if they catch you violating any of these new rules, they will throw your ass in prison, at which point they will come and take all of your guns. So just because this isn't happening overnight doesn't mean it ain't happening. All right. Now, I want to show a picture to you right now. This is a picture. Most of you have seen this. This is a statue right outside of the UN building in New York. It is a bronze sculpture of a Colt .357 revolver with the barrel tied in a knot. Look at that. And also you notice the muzzle is pointing upwards. You know, it's really no secret that the globalists at the UN, they have every intent to disarm the American population. This is something that they've been planning for a very, very long time. We've showed you the UN Arms Treaty and the State Department memorandum where it says that the United Nations will oversee the complete disarmament of the American people, including small arms and light weapons. This is also reported by Forbes magazine. And now we are learning that Obama's next occupation after leaving the White House might be to head up the UN. I mean, how scary is that? Can you imagine Obama at the head of the United Nations? That is truly a nightmare scenario. I mean, they'll want to take guns away from everyone but the military, the police, and the private bodyguards of the elite. So when they tell you nobody's out to get your guns, you tell them bullshit. All right? Now, I want to quickly go back to that memo I showed you earlier, and we're going to go through the rest of the list. After 7 years of Obama, you don't live in a FEMA camp.
You don't have that much time to take away Americans' guns, declare martial law, and put hardworking Americans in FEMA camps. If you're going to do that, you better get started. You better get started.
I have decided we really need camps for adults. And we need the kind of camps that you all run. I mean, really.
They do investigations and say, oh, there are no FEMA camps, because they're not called FEMA camps. They're called Emergency Centers Establishment Act. They're called Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. They're called Rex 84, Continuity of Government under National Police Stabilization Force, RAND Corporation. I'm just giving you, bam, 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 the plan.
After 7 years of Obama, you don't have government implants. Well, I think Joe Biden said it best when he told Supreme Court Justice John Roberts that he will have to rule on microchip implants. Mark my words.
And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over.
7 years later, you don't live under Sharia law. Well, maybe not here in the United States, but I tell you what, it sure would suck to be a Christian in Libya or Syria right now, where the Obama administration has totally unleashed ISIS terrorists to do Washington's dirty work. We've shown you the secret Pentagon report that shows how the U.S. created ISIS to begin with as a tool to overthrow Syria's president, Bashar al-Assad. It's the same old game of divide and conquer. I've talked to you guys about this many times on this broadcast. The CIA arms radical extremists to destabilize a region as an excuse to go in and establish order out of chaos. We've seen the weapons drops. We've seen the Toyotas. Vladimir Putin knows what's going on. Rand Paul has talked about it, and so has Donald Trump. I mean, we wouldn't have an ISIS problem if the Obama administration would simply cut off their funding. They created that Frankenstein. And now there is a tsunami of Muslim immigrants flooding into Europe and the United States, and most of them are not 3-year-old baby orphans, Obama. This is not an immigration, it is an invasion. 7 years later, and there's still no such thing as a death panel, unless, of course, you are a veteran who died waiting to see a doctor at the VA.
Multiple sources tell CNN as many as 40 veterans died while they were waiting for medical care at this VA facility. Our sources tell us many were placed on a secret list designed by VA managers to hide the fact veterans were waiting months to see a doctor.
But hey, we're not supposed to talk about that, right? Shh.
Would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
7 years later, there can be no doubt that Obama was born in the USA. Why? Well, because you've seen his birth certificate. You know, the one that was heavily scrutinized and examined by a team of law enforcement experts in science labs, where they concluded without a doubt that the birth certificate is one big fat forgery, and a bad one at that. And I've sat and had a beer or two with Mike Zullo, who is the chief investigator of Sheriff Joe Arpaio's cold case posse, and he says that none of Obama's certificates and none of his records are authentic. I mean, he is a ghost president. Obama's records are sealed. We're not allowed to look at his college records, his thesis paper, his selective service registration, his Illinois State Senate records. None of it. They are off limits. And I'm telling you something, no president in the history of this country has ever been so secretive. Can you say Manchurian candidate? And finally, 7 years later, and Obama still hasn't risen as the Antichrist. Well, let's give him some time, all right? I mean, he still might head up the UN one day. And I think the History Channel, they got it right when they made the devil from the Bible series look just like Barack Hussein Obama. Coincidence? I think not.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
We just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
Enough. 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 enough.
Mayor Bloomberg, how you doing? Jason, I grew up in Brooklyn. In the spirit of gun control, will you disarm your entire security team?
You will get right back to you.
You'll get back to me?
They may feel that it's part of a romanticized culture. There's an aspect of this, a kind of Wild West cowboy Dirty Harry aspect. There's also an aspect.
So they're macho men and they gotta have a gun.
Go ahead, make my day.
Anybody that wants to disarm me can drop dead.
Vice President Biden and I had a meeting with a group of technology people and talked about how guns can be made more safe by making them either through fingerprint identification, the gun talks to a bracelet or something that you might wear.
Anybody that wants to make me unarmed and helpless, people that want to literally create the proven places where more innocents are killed, called gun-free zones, we're going to beat you. We're going to vote you out of office or suck on my machine gun.
Yes. That's why you're going to fail, and the establishment knows no matter how much propaganda, the Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns.
Guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
I believe that as Americans, we have a right to arm ourselves against criminals, but we don't need the ability to arm ourselves against the Army or the police. The United States military is not out to get us.
And I think that's a healthy thing to question your government. I don't think it's particularly healthy to question the military.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
I don't want that man to have a gun. I wouldn't feel comfortable having an argument with him in his home.
Challenge Alex Jones to a boxing match, show up with a semi-automatic that you got legally, and pop him.
I'd love to see that. In uniform.
You don't have that much time to take away Americans' guns, declare martial law, and put hardworking Americans in FEMA camps. If you're going to do that, you better get started. You better get started.
Refugees are pouring into our great country from Syria. We don't even know who they are. They could be ISIS. They could be anybody. What's our president doing? Is he insane?
Another threat that President Obama mentioned was ISIS. Well, who on earth armed them? Who helped to arm the Syrians that were fighting against Assad? Who created the necessary political climate that facilitated this situation? Who pushed for the delivery of arms to the area? Do you really not understand as to who is fighting in Syria?
This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache.
This is the heart of 1776.
It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Shane Steiner's involvement with InfoWarsLife.com truly happened in an organic way. I went to high school with Shane, his brother, knew his parents well, and he was visiting the office once, hadn't been to the office in years, and said, wow, I noticed you're making and selling supplements. Do these really work? Because I've tried a lot of supplements as a workout enthusiast, and I really think most of them are hype. And I said, here, take some home, try it. Well, a few weeks later, he came in blown away and said, I want to buy 3 boxes of this stuff to give my friends and family. It's simply amazing. He said, why does it work so well? And I said, listen, go to InfoWarsLife.com, watch the informational videos with Dr. Group and others. They understand how it all works. I know that it works for me. That's all I understand. The science, the facts, the research, people's testimonials, they're all on InfoWarsLife.com. You can check it out for yourself.
I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to push myself and work out harder. And that led to me being able to come out and do stuff like the barefooting and the surfing and stuff like that, which I've never done. I never would have done that 2 years ago.
Shane has said over and over again, more than just libido and energy, it made him want to get into the gym more. It made him want to get in better shape. And believe me, the Steiners have amazing genetics. His brother is a world champion steer wrestler. His dad, Bobby Steiner, is a famous world champion bull rider. They've got natural genetics. But when you added this to the mix, in Shane's own words, it took him to the next level. Shane noticed the mental clarity. Bobby was able to work out longer and gain muscle mass. He's already completely shredded. I gotta admit, for me, the biggest effect has been libido. Now, I've never claimed to have a body like some beach model, but back when I was 20, 22 years old and worked out every day, I looked great. But over the years, and being married, having 3 kids, and working 18 hours a day, I gained basically 100 pounds. And it's been a long process losing that weight in the last 4 years. But if you look at the photos and the videos of what I looked like 4 or 5 years ago versus today, the results are dramatic. I'd already cleaned up my diet, I was working out hard, but I'd only lost about 20 pounds. It was adding the other key ingredients from InfoWarsLife.com that helped me personally go to the next level and shed another 35 pounds.
This has actually made me feel so good that here lately, about a year ago, I started training jiu-jitsu, and that kind of led to doing some boxing and kickboxing. I mean, it's amazing that 2 years ago, I was on the couch and couldn't even tie my shoes, and now I'm training with MMA fighters and just doing stuff that I never thought that I would be doing ever again. So Super Male Vitality has allowed me to do some amazing things, and if it has those kind of effects for me, I know that it will do great things for you. So just try Super Male Vitality. I promise you, you'll love it.
And finally, let's look at Anthony Gucciardi, Infowars.com reporter. He also works with Dr. Group and others, helping develop the newest, most cutting-edge, high-quality supplements. Let's take a look at what happened when he tried to barefoot ski for the first time with the Steiners. And remember, we're not making fun of him. He had the will to get in the arena, and he's lost more than 10 pounds in the last few years of fat and gained more than 10 pounds of muscle. And Anthony chalks it up to Super Male Vitality as well. Bottom line, folks, you want to discover the power of Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality for yourself by visiting InfoWarsLife.com today or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Do you hear that? That's Europe being flushed down the giant toilet in the house of globalism. George Soros, one of the main plumbers responsible for the leaking pipes of Europe, is declaring to the public, like the proud Black Lives Matter funding billionaire criminal he is, that the EU is on the verge of collapse. While the Dutch Prime Minister says,
and let me be clear, the current numbers are not sustainable. We are running out of time. We need a sharp reduction in the number of refugees in the coming 6 to 8 weeks.
The UK's Express reports frustrated female refugee center workers who welcome the refugees with open arms and compassion are on the verge of quitting after regularly being sexually assaulted and even threatened with decapitation by a wave of 25-year-old male refugees. Meanwhile, the ungrateful invaders are now suing the German government, complaining that the asylum process is taking too long. Some European countries are beginning to fight back, as Denmark is considering moving the refugees to camps outside the cities, while a wave of derelicts dubbed rape-fugees victimize record numbers of women and children across Eurasia. But in Sweden, where the rape epidemic in particular is exploding, Sweden is funding a sniper training course for recently arrived third world refugees as part of their integration program. Despite the ever-growing refugee terrorist attacks across Europe, the sniping course began on a small scale in the fall. Interest exploded among the non-white invaders to take the course. Sweden has officially lost its collectivized mind. And where does the Obama administration stand on the preparedness of the inevitable confrontations within the United States? The Washington Examiner reports a pair of Department of Homeland Security officials told the Senate on Wednesday that the government does not search for most of the people who overstay their temporary visas. a day after DHS said that nearly 500,000 people were still in the United States after having overstayed their visas last year. Those DHS officials had to testify because the DHS has failed miserably in an attempt to implement a biometric refugee tracking system that was supposed to be up and running over 10 years ago, as required by law in 2004. The Washington Free Beacon reports, senior Obama administration officials had trouble in the past year informing Congress about the number of individuals who had overstayed their visas. The administration also could not provide Congress with statistics about the number of Syrian refugees who had been granted residency in the United States in 2015. There are currently 1,000 open investigations into ISIS members in the United States right now, and that number is trivial. The investigations of 113 of those foreign-born individuals with terror charges have been blocked by the Obama administration since 2014. So, America, can I ask you a question? What are you going to do when and if the rape of your sister, mother, wife, or girlfriend by Middle Eastern refugees starts happening in your town? John Bound for Infowars.com.
Jakari Jackson reporting here from the University of Texas. We're going to ask the students here what they think about ride sharing. Ride sharing means things like Lyft and Uber. The city council wants to put restrictions on Lyft and Uber, and their rationale is safety concerns, both driver identification as well as vehicle registration. But on the flip side of that, I do know from going to city council meetings, they are pushing pretty hard to get people to use their public transportation. So we're going to talk to the students here and see if a middle ground can be reached. We're asking people what they think about services like Lyft and Uber.
Okay. I think they're really helpful. They keep kids from drunk driving, which is really good. There's been enough drunk driving deaths already, so I don't think the city should get rid of them.
I mean, I definitely think it should be safe. Like, I don't want to be getting in a car with, like, a kidnapper. But, like, I don't know. There should be, like, protocol, but it should also be there, you know, not just taxis, because taxis are expensive.
Well, I think that the basic registration of your vehicle, you know, having a valid license is important. Not necessarily having an extensive background check. It's everybody's choice to take an Uber, and usually you go in groups. I don't see much risk in it.
We're asking people if they use services like Lyft or Uber.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Did you know what the city council wants to? So you already heard about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
I hope they don't take it away. I use it almost every weekend.
I think we've got a great example of the free market working to produce a service that people want, and the city council deciding that that wasn't good enough, and that the combination of the people needing more safety than they're willing to pay for, and probably listening to some lobbying from the taxi industry.
Okay, have you heard about the city council trying to put the restrictions?
I signed the petition, man. City council, can I say that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all.
Ann McAdoo for Infowars.com. I'm here in front of the Genesee County Courthouse. This is right here in Flint, Michigan, and I wanted to draw your attention to this historical marker. And as you can see, Genesee County was one of the first anti-slavery settlements. There was a small number of African Americans settled here. They found cheap land, employment, barbers, laborers, farmers, carpenters. So they were able to really make a life for themselves here, as well as really promote this idea of abolishing slavery. A lot of famous people came here to lecture right here at this spot, at this historical site. And I wanted to point this out to just let everyone kind of realize this place was a bustling community, an industrial town, a lot of beautiful architecture here, really representative of just how rich in culture it was here. And then what happens? You have things like NAFTA, shipping all the jobs overseas, a loss of industry here, the economy just tanks. You have the people who can afford it moving out of here, and then the rest of the people who are left here in this crumbling economy. What was once a beautiful, bustling city, people walking down Main Street in their fur coats, now is the murder capital of the United States. Really high crime. We've had several people since we came here told us not to go in certain areas because we will get killed. You know, and so it's taken a complete 180. And that's what happens when you get in a big, bloated, corrupt government that takes that American ingenuity and takes the Americans that are just, they want to leave the abusive conditions they're in to go and make a better life for themselves, and they do. And then the government sort of sees that, they get too big, and they want to suck it all away and make you be reliant on them for whatever you need, turn this into a welfare state, and now we can see the long-term effects of that. So we need to just be aware, be awake, and don't let that happen to the rest of the country. When you see a situation like this, where the government has been poisoning its people and just overlooking and trying to counter any opposition that might come out saying, hey, you know, there's lead in the water, and trying to silence those voices that are coming out trying to expose this. When you see stuff like that, it's time to A, shut it down, or abandon ship. We're standing here in Flint, Michigan, right here in front of the Flint River. This is the notorious river where the people here in Flint, Michigan were having their water temporarily rerouted from, notorious for its filth. You can see the lovely greenish hue of this water. Residents have reported that they've found dead bodies floating in this river before, as well as GM and other companies, like Dow Chemical, they would dump a lot of their waste into this river at one time. So residents were just shocked to learn that this was where they were going to be getting their water supply from. And of course, we know there was a lot of issues with how that water was being treated or wasn't treated, simply because they were cash strapped, so they didn't go follow the proper EPA protocol to ensure that that water, toxic wastewater, was safe to drink. And now a few days ago we found out that there was an outbreak of Legionnaire's disease that was happening for about 18 months. 10 people died, and now we can see from emails received through FOIA request that as early as about 2014, officials were concerned that there was a potential tie between the switching over of the water from the Detroit water supply to the Flint River, that there was a Legionella being found in this water, and that was potentially what was causing this outbreak, that it led to 10 deaths. But again, the public was never told about it, just like they were never told about the lead. They were never warned about the trihalomethanes that were potentially coming out of this water because it wasn't treated properly, which of course, if you're taking a nice hot shower, that's the #1 way to absorb these toxins through the steam, which is going to cause kidney, liver damage. So again, just a massive cover up, massive neglect here. So we're going to go around, do some more reports, find out how the students here at the University of Michigan here at Flint, which is right next to the Flint River, find out how they feel knowing that they're paying a tuition to a school where they're being sort of forced to potentially be exposed to poisonous lead.
You guys have the exclusive for, which is a product called Deep Cleanse. And why I'm so excited about it is it's a unique formula, almost like the iodine crystals. We have 2 unique products that nobody in the world has. One of the most amazing ingredients in the world, and it's called shilajit, and it's actually known as blood of the mountain or rock sweat because thousands of years ago, as a matter of fact, this ingredient was only given to the elite of the elite. Thousands of years ago up in the Himalayan mountains and in Tibet.
And we wanted to put this in stuff for a couple years, but we couldn't get an organic form.
Right. I mean,
so let's explain. I mean, this stuff's so good, we couldn't put it out for years.
Right. So I had to actually, it's kind of like the iodine crystals, finding a source deep in the earth that we could get the cleanest source available. But in Tibet and in Nepal and in the Himalayan mountains, thousands of years ago, they watched these monkeys, and during the summer months, the monkeys would go up into the mountains.
Now you're being racist against monkeys.
And they would pick this black substance from the mountains. And so in Russia, they actually, it grows in Russia in the mountains and in the Himalayas and only in the summer. And shilajit is actually the decomposition of up to 7,000 different medicinal herbs. So it decomposes, all these different herbs decompose in the Himalayan mountains and the volcanic soil up there. And what happens in the summertime...
So it's almost like an oil from...
Yes, it's high in fulvic acid, it's high in humic acid.
Because they're always claiming oil is really from decomposed animals and plants. There is some oil that is based from fossils, but most of it's really abiotic. But so this is a true fossil source? I mean, explain it to me.
It is, it's really the decomposition, like I said, of over 7,000 different medicinal herbs and plants. And with the rocks and the pressure deep in the mountains, it freezes and And during the summertime and the pressures build it up,
it oozes out.
It oozes out. So it literally oozes out of the mountain.
It's like rock sap.
It's like rock sap. It's black, and it's highly nutritious. Even in the 1980s, when the Olympic athletes in Russia were accused of being on steroids, they found out that they were actually been given Shilajit because it works as an anabolic as well, and it builds muscles. It's a big dose in there. The second big main ingredient in there is a volcanic zeolite concentrate. And what this formula is designed to do, the Shilajit and the zeolites have a real strong negative charge. All the metals and chemicals and PCBs and VOCs have positive charges. So these go in, they grab it, and then they safely eliminate it through the body so you can become healthy. I mean, this is an amazing formula. I wish I actually had it, but because this was an exclusive Infowars Life product, you're the only one in the world that has this formula now. And, you know, there is going to be a limited supply available when you sell out because you can only harvest this once a year.
How do people take it? How is it recommended that this be done? Just a daily dose?
Yeah, daily dose. The instructions are on the label. You know, of course, I kind of modify it for each individual. It depends on what your lifestyle is. I mean, honestly, the best thing to do is for you to avoid all these chemicals and toxins in your environment and try to identify them and start slowly reducing them. But personally, I'm going to probably take it every day, every other day, and I'll probably go with about a dropper full to maybe 2 dropper fulls. And I don't expose myself to any chemicals.
InfoWarsLife.com. Please also support our local AM and FM affiliates, support their local sponsors or become a sponsor, and spread the word. Because these aren't just great products. This is how we fund this independent operation. We're not taxpayer funded like MSNBC or NPR, and neither is your local station. So support them, folks. This is a war. Looking at the huge Fast and Furious news that came in, it's Fox News, Associated Press. El Chapo had a .50 caliber rifle from Fast and Furious, not the movie Fast and Furious, the gun running program. And so let's turn Jakari's mic on. Jakari, this is a big, big deal, and the government won't release the serial number. They just hope this goes away. This is the kind of thing that captures the public's attention and brings Fast and Furious back that Hillary and Obama and all of them have not gotten in trouble for, or Big Sis, or Eric Holder.
Yes, and I believe it was last year, maybe the year before, a Mexican beauty queen was in a shootout that involved a Fast and Furious gun. So when we see stories like this, El Chapo, you know, the beauty queen, it brings it back to the American attention because so often we see so many scandals now. It's like a new week, new scandal. So people blow through this stuff pretty fast, and it's hard to keep everybody's focus on one particular issue because next week it's going to be something else. But with the capture of El Chapo, I was actually watching a piece on him last night talking about the first time he escaped from the prison, and, you know, the very elaborate thing. They dug a tunnel, you know, 90 feet underground.
Trained people in Germany.
Yeah, it was quite interesting and fascinating how this guy does it. But, you know, he's been captured once again. We'll see if he escapes. But regardless, it does bring attention back to the Second Amendment issue. And Obama saying that the reason why they have so much gun violence in Mexico is because of the American gun owner. It's the Second Amendment. Meanwhile, he's giving guns to these cartel members, to El Chapo. And then they want to blame the violence in Mexico on the American gun owner. No, it's because of the cartels there in the American, the people in the American government, not the American government as a whole, who continue to fund groups like the
Exactly. But if they don't bring them to justice, it is the American government. We can say it's basically rotten at the top, so many good people at low levels, mid levels, but they have no power.
Yeah, and we've seen the documents from CBS News saying that Fast and Furious was there to blame the Second Amendment.
Incredible.
They want to demonize people. Then you got Obama making these speeches in Mexico, Eric Holder saying we need all these smart guns. Meanwhile, I will say they're doing background checks on the people that they're giving these guns to because they're trying to give them to the worst people possible. They're giving them to Al-Qaeda. They're giving them to the cartels, to El Chapo. So they know where these guns are going. But they say, oh, we're going to track the guns and see where they lead us. Well, they lead you to a bunch of dead bodies. And if they couldn't see that from the forefront, there's something wrong with the administration.
They did it to blame the Second Amendment. We have them caught red-handed, the hand in the cookie jar. It is incredible. An actual false flag, red-handed.
This is just simply amazing. Jakari, we got Weldon Henson in there. You guys normally are the fellows that when the new gun shirts come in, A, you want one, and because you like the Second Amendment and you're a big shooter, and so does Weldon. But B, you guys are in pretty good shape, so you're good models to wear the shirts. These just came in yesterday. We the People. It's got a M4 or AR-15 on the front. We will never surrender. And on the back, it simply says, come and take it, the famous Texas Gonzalez statement. And then on the right shoulder, Infowars.com. And, folks, this is another limited edition shirt. The Hillary for Prison shirts are starting to sell out. We're not making more. I wish I wouldn't have made that a limited edition, but whatever, you make it a limited edition, people seem to like that. They order more of them. That helps fund the operation, gets more great shirts out there on the street. Folks, we the people will never surrender with the M4, with the main gun they want to ban first. And then on the back, come and take it on the right arm, Infowars.com, where you can then point to your arm and tell folks where to go to learn more truth. It's $19.95. This shirt is high quality, and it funds the operation. We need to sell a lot of these. Be able to send reporters. I mean, I would have sent reporters to Davos, the public Bilderberg meeting that's going on right now, but we don't have the funds. I've sent folks to Bilderberg. I've sent folks to cover other events, the attacks in Paris. I mean, it comes down to the fact that we need a budget. We need to sell a lot of T-shirts, a lot of water filters, a lot of nutraceuticals, to have this great group of reporters and crew and investigative journalists and editors and legal and, the bandwidth costs and all of it. We're victims of our own success. I don't want to have to get rid of the free video feed to the daytime radio show that's 4 hours long. But when 15 to 16 million people watch it a month, it's tripled. And again, that's just one feed we put out. I started promoting it, and in fact, I want to do an ad on this, calling for folks to support us because we can show the metric of the bandwidth. I can show the bills. I mean, $56,000. And I mean, we got some of the cheapest bandwidth out there. So, I mean, believe me, we've shopped around, and it's good bandwidth. And it's just a victim of our own success when we have this many viewers. Again, in a month, just on, 16 million times people connected and then watched. I think an average was about 30 minutes. But the point is, that's a lot of people. I mean, that's one small part of our audience, but it's growing. It shows the exponential growth, but it costs so much money. So InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com. What's your view on the shirt? I personally think it's awesome. The graphics crew came up with it because I was saying we'll never surrender our guns on air. We've got to make a declaration of this. I kind of wanted one with the Alamo and that statement. They said, no, this is better. I agree. What's your view on the shirt, Jakari?
That's just another in the series that we have. It's a great shirt, high quality shirt, very comfortable, and it helps you to meet like-minded people. You can go back through the archives. You can see the other come and take it shirts we have, but this is the new one. It's a great one, and you can see by the success of the Hillary shirt, how much publicity we've gotten off that, how many like-minded people have come together. They're wearing it at political rallies. It's
Trump's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very popular shirt, and this can be that as well if people get out there and make this an issue and just wear it. And, it's a great shirt.
The Hillary shirt we came out with 4 months before the end of the year, and then literally about in early December, a huge shipment came in, made right here in America, printed here in America. Most shirts are made in America. We have cheaper ones that aren't, people choose. But the point is that it's super popular. And other people, I'm sure, are making them. They are now, and then that's fine. We're done when these are sold out. They're available at InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or call 888-253-3139. But this shirt, again, I'm not going to do just for 4 months. This is a shirt, limited edition, that will go for 2016, and then that's it. It's gone. So you've got basically 11 months and 10 days to get this shirt, and then it's gone forever. We got a lot of shirts that are not. The Obama Joker one was a limited edition. Man, I wish I wouldn't have got rid of that one. That was the all-time best-selling shirt ever and financed a bunch of stuff. In fact, I was able to hire 3 or 4 reporters. You were part of that wave, Jakari, off the money that shirt made. That was our all-time best. But,
oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. But, that's it, folks. InfoWarsStore.com. We're going to go to this Farrakhan piece in a minute. Stay with me, Jakari. But let's go briefly to Weldon Henson in there in the control room. Weldon, I just said, hey, throw one of these shirts on, drag you in here. Give us your view on the new shirt, Weldon, because you're back there running the warehouse.
Well, obviously, this is one that we had made kind of in response to the fact that every time we turn around, the Second Amendment's getting attacked. Obviously, Obama is on the warpath to destroy the Second Amendment with his executive actions. So this is kind of a response. This shirt is a way for Infowars to respond to that and it helps fund the operation. And, of course, we just got these in. I had to put one on instantly. I know you told me to, but I already had one in my office ready to go, so it's good to get over here and talk about it. Everyone needs to pick one up. It's a great conversation starter. Like Jakari said, you meet like-minded people. Get one of these, wear it to the gun range, wear it out to dinner. Let's get people thinking about
These
this.
politically correct people want to end speech. They want to bully us and throw it in our face. This is almost like doing an open carry, but a lot safer. Open carry is the cutting edge of civil rights, people exercising it to show people that guns haven't been banned. It's breaking that perception. We're beginning to win, but this is the next best thing to that, I think.
Absolutely, because they demonize open carriers here in Texas, but it's the actions of the open carriers, guys like C.J. Grisham and Cargill and all these other guys here in Texas who actually made open carry a law for your pistol here in the state of Texas, because a lot of people think of Texas as a pro-gun state. But you see these guys walking
It wasn't
around.
one of the best, but now it is.
Yeah, you see these guys walking around with their M4s and their AKs because they're trying to make the point that they couldn't carry their pistols, and thanks to the work that they've done, they've been demonized in a lot of different areas. But
they won.
Yeah, they brought the attention.
And the governor's now talking about the New World Order and world government, and he's going to battle it. We're winning. We're marching forward. We're working with everybody. And I'm glad Weldon brought the point. The shirt's a protest shirt in the face of the system coming after them. You're not getting our guns. Weldon, anything else?
I just want to say, to everybody out there, there is a lot of support for what we're standing for in the Second Amendment everywhere you go. I know people get discouraged, but, I was up at the Capitol on Saturday, and everywhere I looked, there had the state troopers up there, and they were carrying AR-15s, so I just started talking to them, and they were all fans of yours. They were all pro-Second Amendment. Everywhere I go, I meet people that are pro-Second Amendment, and they're worried about what's going on in this country.
By the way, I want to be clear, because I didn't even know you went up to the Capitol this weekend, Weldon, but I know that's how politically involved you are for this country. That's what we do on our off time. We're not bragging when we say the police are waking up, the military's waking up, white people, black people, everybody's just people. It's really true that just Infowars as one focal point is exploding. It's absolutely exploding, and it's just crazy just as a gauge of how serious people are getting about what's happening. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you can get 6 months free at prisonplanet.tv, but only for 1 more week. Next Monday, the special that only comes around once a year ends. In fact, we've never offered 6 months free before, but I really want to get more people to join and to be able to watch the nightly news, to see the live reports we do, the special reports, all my films, ebooks, and so much more. One person can share their membership with 20 people, and you are funding the absolute very leading edge, the vanguard of the resistance to the globalist operation on every front. We have to have our own platform that is harder for them to censor, harder for the system to shut down. Prisonplanet.tv. We put out the daily radio show free with the video and audio feeds at Infowars.com/show. But it is the members that get the nightly news exclusively and first, and the commercial-free video podcasts and audio podcasts that are paying it forward and financing and helping so many other people see the truth when we put the videos on Facebook, YouTube, and it's prisonplanet.tv that finances so much of the cameras, the equipment, the crew, the reporters. You are becoming a prisonplanet.tv member. You get exclusive HD, higher quality, get it first, and then you can download it, share it with friends and family, share your passcode with them, your username. It's a win-win, and then you're helping finance to put it out for free to everybody. Prisonplanet.tv. Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water. Save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139. Larry Nichols, thank you for coming on, my friend. You look good. I know you've been battling illness, but I tell you look better than you looked a few months ago, so I hope folks' prayers are working out there. Thank you for coming on with us.
You bet. Well, thank you. Alex, it's heading up just like we said, just like we've talked about, buddy. Let me tell you the inside scoop. Biden and Elizabeth Warren, they're ready. They've got their staff set up. They're ready to go. Now, but here's the problem, Alex. Hillary is putting the pressure on them. They indict her. And Alex, she's going to unload on everybody and has made it quite plain. You indict me, and every secret in Washington will be revealed. I will not go down alone. And every member of Congress, both Republican and Democrat, their Senate, they're scared to death. They're begging Obama, don't. And of course, Obama's got his agenda. And it's the battle. It's the battle. Now, I know everybody, Alex, tells you, well, Hillary's got to be indicted, got to be indicted. Let me tell you, she gets indicted, it's over. Washington, as we know it, will be over. And the people there know it.
What do you expect the establishment to do? What's the current movement? What direction are they going in?
Well, there's absolutely, now I got that just this morning. People, the high-ups in the Democratic Party are calling me, my God, what are we going to do? Republican high-ups are calling me, my God, what are we going to do? Let me tell you, everybody is frozen. Everyone's frozen, Alex. Hillary has got that city under fear. It's under the greatest terrorist attack that's ever been known to Washington, D.C. She has them. And so people in America are wondering, well, wait a minute. With all this stuff that's so obvious, how can you not indict her? And so there's pressure from that angle. The Republican Party, to be quite honest, the reason there's not a lot of stuff happening, between Trump, Cruz, and the establishment in the Republican Party, everybody, quite honestly, is sitting tight, butts puckered. What is going to happen? And so I'm telling you, they're not going to indict Hillary. They're not going to indict her, because if they do, she is going to reveal everything about every one of them. And
well, as you know, a lot of former federal prosecutors and others are coming out saying the word is an FBI indictment is imminent in the next 40 to 50 days. Is that just smoke and mirrors?
That's just wishful thinking. There's a lot of people that think they know this and they think they know that. And there's no doubt that there's FBI guys, Alex, they're not bad. They're not all bad. They want to indict her. But they can't. You see, you can't indict Hillary unless you get Loretta Lynch to do it. Loretta Lynch's not going to do it unless Obama tells her. And
now, what about Biden? You said you talked to some big insiders, and they've even lined up who they plan to run with him.
Right. Biden and Elizabeth Warren. That's what they think will be the relief team, the dream team. If Hillary goes down, they can bring him in. Problem is, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or whatever her name is, she's fighting hard. They've even changed the rules. Now they're going to have another debate. Everybody's working to try to get Hillary back on track because they're scared to death. I'm telling you, this is big league. This is big time, Alex.
Now, 6 months ago, you were saying we got to take out Hillary politically, but you warned Obama may try to put his dynasty in of Biden. That's now admitted. So, but again, I mean, they're part of the same structure, but two different heads, I would say. In your gut, which way is this leaning? Or are you saying right now it's a stalemate?
It's a stalemate, but I'm just telling you right now, Hillary will not be indicted. They will do everything they can to try to cover it up. They'll do everything they can to try to rebuild her campaign. And remember, a lot of this is going to work out to Hillary's favor in the general election, because come general election time, when she wins, it's all going to be old news. And she's going to talk about, Alex, how the right-wing white guy conspiracy, how it tried to bring charges against her, how they've done everything to destroy her, and she still made it. Like the phoenix rising up from the ashes, she made it, and here she comes. Now, I will say this, the only one that can beat Hillary, Alex, the only one, is Donald Trump.
Recently, I saw a video of 10-year-old Vandella Payne, who was given a repetitive full-body pat-down, which scared the girl and disgusted her father. Her father taped the incident, and later posted the video on YouTube, as he was outraged by the egregious and overreaching government behavior. The TSA claims that the pat-down was necessary when they noticed the threatening juice box that she had in her backpack. She was patted down multiple times to make sure that her and her threatening juice box were not terroristic sympathizers. Meanwhile, the TSA was allowing thousands of illegal immigrants to fly in from Mexico without a travel visa or passport. Here's what the Judicial Watch said about these incidents in July of 2014. To ease a load, the Obama administration is transferring the UACs, more than 53,000 by the government's count, to other parts of the country, including Florida, Nebraska, and Massachusetts. Apparently, a large number of UACs are being transported to their new destination on airplanes. Most don't have a valid identification and are being allowed to board aircraft with just a slip of paper. And on top of that, we have hundreds of thousands of Middle Eastern refugees seeking asylum in the U.S., and all the heads of the FBI, National Counterterrorism Organization, and Homeland Security have all admitted under oath that their agencies do not have the capability to properly vet the refugees.
We don't have the systems in place on the ground to collect the information to vet. That would be the concern.
Yes, I think that's the challenge we're all talking about, is that we can only query against that which we have collected.
You can't account for what you don't know, and that goes to the intelligence deficit that I think is embedded in your question.
We may have somebody who comes to us and is simply not on our radar for any discernible reason. And there may also be the possibility that somebody decides to do something bad after they've been admitted through the process.
Even the Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan agrees with Donald Trump's statement on not taking Muslims into the U.S. until a proper vetting process is established.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
So when Mr. Trump said we can't allow these Muslims, refugees, into America. Now, a lot of people were upset with him, but I know, sir, that the hatred for America in the Muslim world. So in this way, Mr. Trump, I think, is wise to vet anyone coming from that area into America, because the hatred for America is in the streets now.
Finally, our southern border is wide open for people and illegal drugs to pour into this country. Infowars reporters have documented that our border patrol is busing illegals across the country, and border ranchers have found Muslim prayer rugs, English to Arabic dictionaries, and even Middle Eastern money, which proves that we are under an invasion of epic proportions. Going back to the TSA, they want to end the process of opting out of naked body scanners, and they are finally implementing the National ID card to fly, which will make the driver's license of some states not a valid ID to board a plane. Our country is literally locking all the internal doors while leaving the outside doors wide open to and practically inviting terrorists to come in and wreak havoc on our great country. And what is this doing to people my age, who've always known the TSA draconian Fourth Amendment violating practices? We think this type of international checkpoint behavior is normal and to be expected at every large event. Our roads, bus stations, trade stations, and airports are becoming East German Stasi prison staging centers. This is not the country that our founding fathers envisioned, and I will tell you with 3 quotes proving this. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny, and when the government fears the people, there is liberty. Thomas Jefferson. Any society that would give up a little liberty to gain a little security would deserve neither and lose both. Ben Franklin. Make yourself sheep and the wolves will eat you. Benjamin Franklin. We need to go back to what our founding fathers envisioned before the TSA filling up 10-year-old girls becomes an art form. This is Rex Jones reporting for Infowars.com and the Infowars Nightly News.
Hey, that's going to do it for tonight's broadcast. The Infowars Nightly News will return, Lord willing, tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Till then, you all have a great evening, and we'll see you back right here tomorrow. Good night. What's wrong? You don't like a small group of psychos hijacking your country? Well, become president of the United States and change it from the... Never mind.
3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
Knockout is back. If you want a product that has 10 known ingredients that naturally get your body to relax, your brain to relax, so you get deep, restful sleep, Knockout's it. Infowarslife.com. L-theanine, hops flower extract, lemon balm extract, valerian root extract, chamomile flower extract, L-tryptophan extract, melatonin, and more. All organic, all the natural sources. It's the same price as leading brands of melatonin that are 3 milligrams a piece. It has 3 milligrams, the standard recommended dose for an adult. It's got the GABA, so it would probably cost $50 to take all this as separate pills. It's $19.95. You take 1 or 2 of these, and it just is really clean, restful sleep is what the reviews are. It's what I've experienced. And it just synergistically puts everything in there.
InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Or call 888-253-3139.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.